You share some incredible insight into how you navigate being in business and how you grow and the lessons we both learned being in business. So I just wanted you to share some of those nuggets with us this afternoon as we do our first segment of the Business Exchange. And you can visit our YouTube channel, Creative Vision Media TV. Okay. So first tell me, how long have you been in business, Miss Jackie? And tell us the kind of services you provide.
We have been in business for close to 7 years now, I think. We do project management, honors representation. We just added actually post disaster services. Our main focus or expertise has always been with in the industry, in the construction industry, but as far as plan review, permitting, due to the experience we've had with Miami-Dade County, the state, and also the city of Miami, and it's been good so far.
So far, so good. So, and you started off early on doing government or private, or you always do government, or what has been your strategy early on to where you are now?
I have to admit that I started doing private. It was just, let me help somebody,
right,
to get their project through. And I remember and I did that when I was still working with the government. Mainly because I knew how to look at both aspects. I did not help in the municipality that I worked in. In other words, when I worked for Miami-Dade County and had no clients in Miami-Dade County, they were mostly associated with municipalities. And when I worked with the municipalities, it was the same thing.
So you avoided all conflict?
Yes, because that was not something that I wanted to explore at all. It's a very thin line to thread, and I was not willing to do that. And it took one project, I remember, at the city of Miami Beach, that actually made me think of leaving the field of architecture and planning and go understand the construction aspect of it, and I went from there.
Wonderful. So now you're mostly governmental, and you're certified as a
DBE and a CDBE. We're certified with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, with the Broward County Public Schools, with the Miami-Dade County itself, and yeah. We're still looking for other certification. We're a vendor for Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward. We actually address all three counties. We just now started exploring Monroe County, and depending on how far in Monroe County we go there, but we try to do strategic partnership with other firms to get.
So you have a small business enterprise designation. You also have a disadvantaged business enterprise designation, which allows you to work on state as well as federal projects as well. So, and that helped you with your strategic partnership. What does that mean exactly?
It's when you look at it overall, it's supposed to mean that you help the big firms to meet their minority requirement.
Right.
What I found is that it means different things for many people.
Okay, what is your understanding? Because I can share mine as well. What is your understanding?
And for some, it's just a number. I need your title, I need your category, but I'm not really willing to share the work.
Wow. So what do you do in that instance? Because I've seen that before as well, where you get on the team And then you have to go check to see if the team even won, because no one communicates with you. And then one day you get a call that says, hey, a year later, you're on this team, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. Or have you had other scenarios? What does that look like?
It's I've had that and strangely others.
So as a small business, you can't trust that they're going to always come back to say, hey, we won. We're on this team. Here's your percentage of the work. So what do you do in that case?
Yes, well, it's a very tricky thing to manage, because as a small business, you want to keep the relationship, because in fact it's about relationship. It's about connection, and it's about you did a great job and let's go to do some more.
Right.
However, one of the things I noticed is there's a very thin line, especially when you're small. You don't want to rock the boat. So you partner with a firm that you know is reputable or that you trust, then they put your name. And sometimes, because I've had that happen to me, also where they would use my credential, because they have it on one thing, but they would use my credential and bid on several other projects, which I'm not aware of. And I would get either an email from somebody in the small business department of a municipality or an agency telling me that there's something missing, and I'm like, excuse me?
Wow.
And I wouldn't know. I'm like, missing for what? Then I'm trying to, now I'm left to navigate, okay, who actually, because then you don't want to look so
out of the loop,
that they wonder, do you actually know what you're doing?
Right.
Or you don't want to look so abrasive either, where the person or the team who brought you on look like they're just using your name to cover their tracks.
Right.
It's a very thin. I mean, it's treading water. So, but I do find one of the things that I noticed, and I've always said that I left the government realm because I didn't like to play politics. Until I opened my own firm and realized that all I was doing was playing politics.
It requires political savvy.
It does. And it requires a lot of tact, and it requires a lot of underlining skills that you didn't think you even had.
Because you're trusting the process, you're trusting the people you're engaged with, and you're trusting it's going to work as it should, according to the local ordinance or the certification requirements. But it does require a lot of skill.
It does. And you're trusting that the person will be professional enough to, let's say, when they approach you to say, let's work on this particular project, and they're telling you, and you look at the scope of services and the allocation, and you're thinking that this is what it is, but once the project is won, and all of a sudden it was a 15 or 20% goal, your percentage is 3% because they already had somebody else in mind to come and do the work. And at the end of the day, you're like, okay, well, you use my credential to win this. You use my experience, which it was part of that thing, to win this, but yet I get 3%, and it's sometimes it's not a conversation they're willing to have.
So how do we, as small businesses, especially as women, and I'm going to say for me, when I started to do more of these partnerships, I had to learn and grow really fast. And a lot of it was error, and a lot of it was lack of someone to follow or to call and say, hey, XYZ, can you tell me what you would do in this situation? So how do we, as women-owned firms, ensure that the percentage, you're right, the goal that is offered at time of bid is identical post-award without ruffling feathers?
Without ruffling feathers. And I think this is the most challenging part, because either way you look at it, you can, and this is, and this is where I find it to be I wouldn't say difficult, and challenging is not the exact word that I'm looking for either. But this is where I find it a little contradictory, because you, on one hand, you have the agency who's aware that these kind of things happen,
Right.
and tell you that you're supposed to bring it up. But at the same time, should you dare to do that, there are consequences to it. And you find yourself having to wonder, do I want to take that chance and bring it to their attention? Or do I want to be complicit in letting them continue that practice? And at first, I wasn't the one to bring these kind of things to attention, because I didn't want to ruffle feathers. And at the end of the day, you realize that it's the business world, it's either you eat or you get eaten.
Right.
And I'm running a business and I'm here to scale. And if you use my services, I need to get paid. If you use my credential, I need to get paid. And you get...
And make a profit.
Right. So the fact that you would hire me on a basis that we would go into business, because I won't say you would hire me, we would go onto business together with the thought that this is how much I'm going to be making.
Right.
And I already calculated and put it into my revenue stream system as a part of my projection of growth, and you decided this is not what you're going to give me, is a bit problematic, because you're not taking a loss.
Right.
I am. So at the end of the day, if I want to scale, I have to defend my business. And I had to think of it a very different way in order for me to do that. Because it was one thing for me to remain professional and calm and all this stuff. And so another thing for me to defend my bread and butter, because this is what keeps a roof, because I'm a small business, this is what keeps a roof over my kids' head. Right. This is what feeds us. This is what pays for their school. Right. So when I allow a bigger firm to not pay me,
honor your experience,
honor my experience,
right,
and to not honor my fees,
right,
I'm cheating my children.
Wow.